Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How'd you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to hide certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids feel like they have to.
As part of the Chapters Network, Benson brings a weekly show aired worldwide on YouTube and Facebook, and her message is creating positive change. That's Wednesday at 6 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Hi, everyone. Hey, my name is Danni Benson, and you are watching I'm Proud of You Sis. I hope everyone had a fabulous Wednesday. Yesterday was International Women's Day, so I want to give a shout out to all the women all over the world who are making it happen the best way you can. I just want to tell you that I am so proud of you, sis. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Manso. We have been friends since high school. She's my Cody. She's been in my life. There's so many other wonderful women that have been in part of my life from start. But today we want to talk about her journey or our journey to self-love. On February 13th, 2020, my representative in District 11, Kimberly Jean-Pierre, I'm talking really fast, I apologize, actually took my idea of self-love day for New York, because it's all boils down to me finding out my self-love. I had to find out who I was again, what made me powerful, what made me like a hustler, what made me grind and succeed. And some way along the way, I lost that love for myself, and I was tolerating things that I normally would not tolerate at all. And I thought it was because that's what I was supposed to do, because when you love someone, you're supposed to make them happy, and you're supposed to do, all you can to make them happy. And sometimes in doing that, you lose yourself, you lose who you are. And that's what happened to me. I lost who I was, and I had to figure out, how to get back to who I was, because I knew if I got back to who I was, I would know my power again. And the only way I know how to win is knowing my power again, which is basically like my self-esteem. I had to find the love for myself again. So within that journey, I was watching my daughters, and I know my daughters were looking at me and they believed in me. And I really worked hard, because I knew if I was in that situation, I just knew what the power of self-love is. Because when you know what self-love is, you know who you are, you know your core, you know your purpose, you know your destiny, and then you know your boundaries. That's the most amazing thing ever. When you know self-love and your self-love, you know your boundaries, and you know the things that you will tolerate and the things that you won't tolerate, and you will stand by your boundaries. So I want to welcome Manso to the show. She was one of my supporters, because she always puts a battery in my back. And even if I find it impossible to do things sometimes, she's one of many girls that I call that tells me, yo, go do it, girl. You can do it. So Manso, hey, Debbie, how are you? And I just want to say that Debbie is an artist, a singer, a musician. She is a project manager. She is like, oh my God, she is a mom.
Wear a lot of hats.
She's a mom, and also she just became a grandma, and she's always like so proud to say her age, which me, I'm like, but she is beautiful human being. She makes me laugh. She makes the world laugh. She's so funny. But Deb, I want to talk about your journey to self-love. We always talk about this all the time, don't we?
First off, I want to thank you for allowing me to get on your show to segue this movement of just, announcing this day, Self-Love Day, February 13th. I can't wait till we officially celebrate it in 2023. When you first brought the idea up, I have to say that I was just like, Danni is brilliant and so amazing, and this is like the best idea ever. It's like, for a lot of reasons, self-love can be a very long journey, especially if you weren't raised with the foundation of believing in yourself, or with a foundation of just hope and self-love. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to touch base on a couple of things when it comes to that journey of self-love. The first thing is that, being raised in a toxic environment does create self-esteem issues. And part of that journey of healing is addressing your past, because it does manifest in other areas. And I wrote notes. I got to look at it if you don't mind. I was like, just a little bit about myself. My background is I come from a family of 8. I was raised on Long Island, as we both were, in Wyandanch. Wyandanch, when you tell people you're from Long Island, they have this assumption that you like live in this like wealthy neighborhood with big house and new cars. But actually where I'm from is very poor. And we were very poor. And, we have very little resources. And my parents came from a similar background. So, we were raised, old school, very strict parenting. And at a young age, because of the strict parenting, I ran away and moved in with my older sister. And I guess she took me under her wing. And that was like the beginning of like really crazy life and experiences, which I won't go into the full length of it now because the show is only an hour long. But I will tell you that I was thrust into very toxic environments, and those traumas in my teen years manifested in my adult life, where I struggled to love myself. And because I couldn't love myself, I made a lot of poor choices.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when we lose sight of who we are, because if you really love yourself, you won't allow to make choices that will allow yourself to get hurt, right? But because of the lack of love for yourself, you start making decisions that really hurt you more than hurts the other person, because you're putting the other person before you. And I'm not saying that I want the world to be narcissistic and to be about themselves. And there's a difference between confidence and self-love and arrogant. Arrogant means that you lack empathy and it's all about you and that's it. Confidence means that you want yourself to be confident, but then you want everyone around you to be confident also. So that is like the difference. And when you have self-love for yourself, because I've been there too, Debbie, because we've known each other for a long time, your life changes. You glow better. And you are a go-getter when you find your self-love, right? Because it's this like inner power within you that rises when you know who you are, and when you have the confidence, and when you say, yes, I can do this. So self-love is such a powerful and a positive thing, because the lack of it is negativity. It's putting other people down. It's there comes the jealousy, there comes the hate. Because if you don't love yourself, how do you love your neighbor? How do you love the person in front of you? How do you love your friends? Because if you don't take care of you, how can you take care of everyone else?
Yeah, and I gotta say that the one thing about our relationship and why we've been friends for so many years, Danni, is that you have been an inspiration. I tell people, Danni's one of the few people that I can share my dreams with, and she doesn't project fear. Like, she supports it. And she's one of the few people that I know that, you know, can envision what it is that she wants and like actually goes for it and makes it happen. You know, I mean, that's an amazing quality. And I think a lot of that derives from a sense of self-love. I mean, just to like walk through, I guess, my journey of like recovery, I would say that I was at a, you know, I had a chapter in my life where I did a lot of crazy stuff, like in my 20s. I've gotten arrested, you know, and I was about the streets. And then I cleaned up, I became a mother, and then I started working a corporate job. And very quickly I climbed the ladder and I was making a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. I mean, I don't know, money is subjective, but I was making a, you know, six-figure income, you know, in a good range within a six-figure income. And then I realized that I was unhappy under those circumstances anyway. And I feel like the choices that I made during that time was because I didn't have love for myself. Like, I operated in a mode of necessity constantly. And because I was operating on a mode of necessity constantly, I couldn't see past what I needed today. And I made choices based on that. So yeah, I made a lot of money, but I had a really high stress job where I was working 60 hours a week. I didn't have enough time for my family, specifically my son. And it ended up having a huge impact on our relationship years down the line, you know? So, you know, one day I had a breakdown, like literally a nervous breakdown. And I made a decision to get cognitive therapy and to make changes in my life. And the first thing I changed was my job situation. Like, I literally quit my job. I was like, this is not life. Like, we have this misconception, you know, society compartmentalizes everything. It's like, you're a woman, you have to have a man. If you don't have a man, you're not successful. You have to have a good job. If you don't have a good job, you're not successful. You know, you have to have a house. You have to have a car. You have to be a mother. You have to have your child. And there's like all these rules.
All these things that is so
Yes.
expected from women and not as much expected from men. The only thing they expect from men is to be a good father and to provide, right? And be successful, right?
Yep. And it's like, it's not fair in a way because we're held to a very different standard. And there's a lot more pressure on us to be a certain kind of way. And in my case, you know, just going through my journey, there was a lot of pressure on me to not only have financial success, but also have success in my love life. So I always have this ongoing pressure of like, you're not good enough because you don't have a man.
Yeah, or you're not complete until you have a man, or you're married. Like the thing with women is it feels like their success is tied on, but are you married? But are you married? Are you married? Do you have kids? Like, it's not even like the accomplishments. Yeah, great, you accomplished this, you accomplished that, you have six figures. Whoa, like,
That
but
is true.
if you're not married, what's wrong with you? Why does something have to be wrong with me? You
Yeah.
understand?
And I agree with that. Like, I've had like, so, you know, real talk, like, I haven't been in a serious relationship in over a decade. And that used to be something that I was embarrassed about. Part of the reason why I haven't been in a relationship, one, was because of the lack of self-love. And two, was because mainly the lack of self-love, but two, because I never really felt ready. Like, it wasn't on my list of things. It wasn't like, you know, with some women, you know, have a checklist and they're like, when I grow up, I want to be married with the white picket fence, you know, and I want to have a house and I want to do this. That was never my vision. My vision always was, when I grow up, I want to be an artist. I want to be able to be fully expressed, you know, and I want to be able to monetize off of that. And that has been like, so it was like a conflicting narrative for me where it's like, I'm not good enough because I can't seem to settle down. But every time I try to settle down, it never really worked out because I never really had a true invested interest in being in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because there was another part of me that was like romanticizing this dream of being a complete person through my artistry. You know what I'm saying? And so when I quit my job and decided to get like intensive therapy, because I don't want to say I knew something was wrong with me, but I felt like I was seeking peace, like inner peace. I was seeking like healing, and I knew that I couldn't do it by myself. So a couple of things that kept coming up was the fact that I'm still single. You know?
I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to be complete to be with a significant other, and like I so love the younger generation because we're
I do
breaking all
too.
those rules about if you're not married, or there's something wrong with you. If you don't have kids, oh my god, there's something wrong with you. Like there's so much pressures of just like from the older generations that's been here before us, that talks about you're only complete if you have children and you have a man. And you know what, that's a struggle for like a lot of women in this day and age. Like I tell people all the time, especially like my aunts and my uncles, it's not the same it was when you guys were growing up. Like life right now is it's so complicated, and complicated meaning that there's so much going on. There's social media now. Women are in the workplace now. Women are going to school, longer now to further their education. So it's not that you're graduating college and you're starting a family. Some women are not opting for things like that. And you know what? Some women decide that they want to be single. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. Does that mean that I'm not lovable? No, I am still lovable, but these are the choices I want for my life. But there's a lot of women who were raised with this, glass slipper, Cinderella thing since they've been babies. Like, you're not complete until you get married. And this is when you feel like something is wrong with you if you never get asked to get married. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, why is no one asking, to be with me? And that will affect your self-love. But you know what? It shouldn't affect your
absolutely.
self-love at all.
Well, the thing is that after I got therapy, and now obviously I'm in a good place, and we could talk about how I got to this place. But for years, like I've had so much success. Like, I was a high school dropout. I went back to
And I just want to
school.
say, I want to
You
give
know,
you, I want to give you your flowers, and this is
thank
why I
you.
have you on the show, because you are a testament of someone with strong will and purpose. Deb Manso, I can say this, high school dropout. In these days, she had a child when she was a teenager. She comes from a home with strict parents, and because how strict they were, it was like the family and the kids aren't as united like they should be. I mean, she's had so many walls put against her, to the point that if she really believed the circumstances that she was currently in when we were younger as teenagers, if she believed what everyone told her, like she wasn't going to be nothing, she wasn't going to be nothing.
Yeah,
But I remember I'd be like, girl, you can do it. I was like, girl, I don't care if you dropped out of college. Who cares? Not everyone is meant to go to college. It's like to me, I feel like college is like a system thing. Yes, if you want to go to college, that's great, but you still could be fantastic. You still could win. You still could make six figures plus. You still could be a millionaire without going to college. It's just your will to win. Yes, you had a child. Okay, it's okay. That doesn't mean like you are a failure. A child is a beautiful thing to happen. I was like, you can do it. It was hard. I remember it was hard, but I'm so proud of you because you did it. You did it. And I need you, and I know you know your self-love now, but I need you to recognize all of the walls and all of the naysayers that were against you because they were looking at statistics and saying like you're not going to make it. And you know what? You're a testimony to all the women out there in the world that might be in your same circumstance right now. I want them to understand that yes, you can. Yes, you will make it. You have to believe you're going to make it. And that's why the power of self-love is so important.
I
Because if
agree with
you
that.
believe that you deserve more, if you believe that you deserve better, then you will get better, then you will get more. And you are a testament of that, Debbie. And I understand, like in your heart, oh, I don't have that man. I don't have that suitor. I don't have that ring. I feel incomplete. You know what, Debbie? You are a full woman. You are not incomplete. Society makes women feel that they are less loved or less of if they don't have a suitor or are married. But I'm here to tell you, you are 100%. You are 100% love. You are 100% self-love. And for all the women out here who are single and trying to figuring it out and are panicking right now because maybe they're like, am I ever going to get married? I just want to tell every woman out there, it's okay if you don't.
That's what I wanted to touch base on. So what I was saying is that, like, although I've had so many successes and milestones and I've leaped over the China wall and done so much in my life, I was still viewed as not good enough because I did not have a partner. You know what I'm saying? Because I never got married, because I didn't buy the house, because I didn't do this. And for years, I was like torn by that. And then once I started to like go through this process of like actually loving myself, that's when I realized that I don't really need that. Maybe, it isn't my time, and that's okay. Like, I'm not rushing that process, because I think I was telling you this, like when I was talking to my therapist said to me, part of the reason why you pick unavailable partners is because you're trying to fill a void. You know what I'm saying? And those people that are available are not great. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not good people. When you start to love yourself, you start to set a high value, a high standard for yourself. And that takes longer to sort out that person. You know what I'm saying? And so with self-love, you develop this patience. You recognize that not everything is immediate. Everything takes time. You have to set your standards, and you have to be able to stick with your standards, and you will eventually get what works best for you. And that's the thing with life and loving yourself, is understanding that what goes on around the world got nothing to do with you. It's what works best for you. And I'm not even referring to just love. I'm referring to your finances. I remember I was getting pressured to purchase a house. People were like, why you don't, especially when I was at the peak at making some sizable amount of money. They're like, why you don't buy a house? Why you don't buy a house? Why you don't buy a house? I was having a lot of pressure. And I was like, because I'm by myself. Like, I don't want to have to deal with that. And so instead of buying a house, I saved a bunch of money. And then I lived off that money for 3 years to give myself time to decompress from being burnt out from working in a corporate environment, and time to kind of find myself and heal. And in that 3-year process, I discovered of not working. I mean, I would take like odd jobs. I did whatever I felt. I even did volunteer work. That's when I was doing like the Clean Bushwick Initiative and all this stuff, environmental work. During that 3 years, I realized what was it that I needed to put my sight on, and I realized what was valuable to me, and where I wanted to be in the next chapter of my life. I gave myself the opportunity to literally decompress from the world, because I feel like a lot of people experience trauma. I experienced trauma twice, severe trauma twice in my lifetime. The first time,
you know what? And Debbie, I want to commend you for seeking therapy, because therapy is so important. And I tell people out there, please,
absolutely.
Debbie is an advocate for therapy too. It actually does work. It helps you figure things out. Sometimes, your friends aren't therapists. Your parents aren't therapists. Meaning like they didn't go to school for it. I'm a parent. I'm not a therapist, right? So I can advise my children, but I'd rather them go to a licensed professional who knows the things to say to make my child feel better about themselves.
Absolutely.
Not to say that me as a parent cannot, but medically, I cannot. Do you understand? And I rather my kids go to a therapist or psychotherapist, or a social worker, anyone in the field that helps a child or a person find themselves and helps them figure it out. No one should feel ashamed of that.
Amen.
I'm actually proud of people who take that step, because that means that they're trying to reclaim their life back. They're trying to reclaim who they are back, and they're trying to reclaim their journey back to self-love.
That's right. Throw that back in there. Yeah. I mean, it was the best decision that I made. I think through therapy, I recognize, again, what works best for me. I recognize that, I don't want to have a traditional life per se. Like, I don't I'm not in a rush to be with anyone. You know what I'm saying? And it also made me realize my worth. Like, I need to set the bar really high. Like, if you come in, you better come 120% correct, because I don't got time for the other stuff. And again, it put that secondary to my larger goals. Like, my larger goals is to finish my visual EP. You know, I've always wanted to put out a body of work. You know, I'm an artist and I want to be able to self-express. And I also want to be able, my life goal is to feel fully expressed. So that's my focus, you know, and if everything falls into place in between there, above and under, then I'm open to it, but I'm not in a space of like making that a priority.
But you know what? And I feel that the journey of self-love is basically following your own rules, following what makes you happy, and not what society says to make you happy, because we're all our different fingerprints. We don't fit all in the same glove. What makes someone else happy doesn't mean it makes me happy, right? So it's time that people follow their heart. It's time that people follow their self-love. It's time that people follow what makes sense for them. Regardless of what society says, you have to make yourself happy, right? So if you don't get the house, it's okay, right? If you don't get married, it's okay. You know, if you have a child out of wedlock, you know what? It's okay. You know, because we have to stop with the society standards and doing what's okay for you. And that's why a lot of people lose their self-love, because they're trying to fit into society standards versus fitting in what's good for them.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, you know, part of developing that self-love is understanding that it doesn't matter and understanding what works for you. Like, I would say in the past year, I've come to that place of like, I don't really care what anybody thinks. I'm like, I don't really care. I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. You know what I'm saying? I'm not killing anybody. I'm not, you know, having a negative impact in the world.
We're good
I'm just
people,
living.
right? We're
Yeah.
good people. And I wish I can bottle like this wisdom and just feed it to my younger babies that are 8 years
Absolutely.
old, so they don't have, so I could give them shortcuts, because I'm at a time in my life right now, like, I don't care what no one, how anyone, not that I don't care, meaning I don't have empathy, but I don't care,
Agreed.
meaning that whatever I feel like my purpose is and what I'm going to do, it's great that people have opinions and their advice, but if I feel it in my heart, and if I feel that instinct that's burning through, I'm going to do it, because I know, like, if this is meant for me to do it, no matter what anybody else says, it's going to happen, because this is my purpose. So everything is going to fall into place. So I tell everyone out there, you know, do you, do what makes you happy, not what society says, because you are the one that lives with yourself every single day, right? I am worthy. You are worthy. Each one of us is worthy. So I am here to say thank you so much, Deb Manso, for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of
Thank you.
your
Same
self-love
here.
journey.
Thank you.
You're an amazing mom, amazing grandma. Yeah, she's a grandma.
Thank you.
And I just want to say to anyone out there, please find your journey to your self-love. And that's all that matters. Your journey to your self-love. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Danny, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, Debbie. I appreciate you all. And I'm proud of you, sis. And happy International Women's Day. Women's
Amen.
Month.
Happy International Women's Day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.